Well, Bishop, it looks like there's a new sheriff in town. Haha, fans of X-Men the Animated Series, hope you enjoyed the music during that intro, and thanks to my brother Greg for coming up with that for me. And yes, I am Rob, back here with another Marvel Legends review for you guys here today. For those of you who previously tuned in for my Omega Red review, you guys might remember that Entertainment Earth stiffed me a Bishop about 3 weeks back. They said they'd get a new one to me in a couple of days, and well, they were a bit behind schedule, but at least I finally have him in hand. And thanks to my buddy and former co-host of Project Geek Week, JT, I managed to get my hands on an X-23 Laura Kinney Wolverine figure. Both of these figures I've been really excited for, and dare I say, I'm even more excited to finish the Sauron Build-A-Figure that headlines this wave of X-Men heavy Deadpool Marvel Legends figures. The back of the packaging for each one of these figures does feature a nice glamour shot of the figure inside, as well as a bio for Bishop, and a bio for Laura Kinney Wolverine. And then of course at the bottom we've got a complete lineup of all of the X-Men figures that are available in this Deadpool wave of Marvel Legends. Not gonna let that go, Hasbro. Alright, toy fans, I'm psyched to get these figures out of the box. So let's go ahead and open up Luke and Laura, and there's my one soap opera reference for my lifetime, and see what these guys are all about. And here we have Bishop and Laura freed from their retail prisons. On the surface, I love the look of both of these figures. I do have some nitpicks about the way that the Bishop figure came out, at least my particular version of it. Laura, I think, fared a little bit better. And I've noticed that there's been some issues online of Laura having an angled neck peg. Fortunately, my figure has a perfectly, aside from some paint errors on the actual disc, the neck peg does actually rotate up and down like it's supposed to. It's not at an angle like I've seen a few people coming across with their particular figures. And actually, while I have the head off, let me go ahead and show you one of the accessories that Laura comes with. Laura has this excellent unmasked head. Now, it is a little bit bigger than the masked head. If you look at the sizes of them, this is definitely a bigger form as far as that head looks. This head looks a little bit better on the body, but let's go ahead and place it on the costumed Wolverine body here. And it just pops right on. And as you see there, I still think the head looks a little big, but I really like the look of that head. I wish I could fit it on a larger female body. It's interesting that Laura has been actually made on this teen girl body, as ever since she started wearing the Wolverine costume, artists tend to draw her like she's in her late 20s. She's got a body that much more resembles Rogue than it does, the all-new X-Men era or new X-Men era teenage X-23 body. And then especially now that she's got Honey Badger as a sidekick, she just looks bigger all the time now with the way she's drawn. Here is the X-Force X-23. As you can see, that is the exact same body mold, just repainted. And X-23 had a head that seemed a little bit too big for the body, but let's go ahead and put that head, the Laura head, on the X-23 body and see how that looks. And that actually looks really cool. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't know if you guys are seeing it too. I feel like this unmasked head actually looks a lot better on the X-Force body than it does on the Wolverine body. But regardless of which body it's on, that is an amazing looking head sculpt. I'm so glad we've got that. Let's go ahead and get the Wolverine head put back on the Wolverine body. It's also worth noting that this figure has foot claws. The X-Force Wolverine did not, X-Force X-23 did not have that, but this Wolverine does. These claws do appear to be removable. There we go, you can just pull them right out. It does leave a hole in the foot, which is kind of an unsightly appearance. But, I don't know that we really needed to have these. I know it's comic accurate, but I didn't mind X-Force X-23 not having the foot claws. And it just seems a little awkward with the Wolverine figure that she has foot claws. Unless you're posing her around to actually slash people, it just looks a little weird that the toe claw is out all the time. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but it's my review, and that's my opinion. Now let's go ahead and move these ladies to the side for a moment, and we'll go ahead and talk about that Bishop figure. This Bishop figure looks fantastic. He looks like he's pulled right from the X-Men animated series, which may be a turnoff to some, but for me, I don't mind. I'm nostalgic for the show, and I like that the Hasbro X-Men Marvel Legends figures tend to be drawing a lot of inspiration, at least the 90s versions of the X-Men, from that animated series. But Bishop's got some nice paint decals on the arms here. We've got that symbol, and then of course we have the Xavier Security Enforcers on the other side. But the striping going down the leg, mine is just a little bit weak. I don't know if it's quite coming across on the camera. Let me rearrange my light real fast. It is nice and thick right here up on the hip. And I do have an actual plastic arrow, which is unfortunate. That's probably just part of the molding process. Wish I didn't have to deal with that. But then as we come down on the thigh, there's not as much paint applied to the thigh. So there's a noticeable, at least in person, there's a noticeable like darker yellow to a lighter yellow, and it runs that way down the rest of the leg. I wish it was more solid like it is up on the hip. But that minor annoyance aside, I think the head looks fantastic. Some nice clean paint on the face. I do like that the M brand has been sculpted onto the character. And then really just the rest of the figure, aside from the striping going down the front, I think it's all just molded plastic. And of course the shoulder decals. So there's not a lot of opportunity for paint error to appear anywhere else on the figure. And of course we bring in the Toy Biz figure. Mine has some issues. His right leg, every joint in that right leg is really loose. He's never been able to support his own weight, and this Bishop figure never had peg holes in his feet, so I wasn't able to use a stand on him. So mostly my Bishop would just lean against other things whenever I had to pose him. But as you can see here, and I'm not going to be able to let go of him, he does have more paint detail, but I've got to say, I think I really prefer the proportions of the modern Hasbro version. Bishop also has one accessory this time out. He's got a holster on his back, and you can go ahead and pull out this gun. The gun itself is just molded in a silver plastic. Honestly, for me, it's not a lot to write home about. To me, it looks like they tried to imitate a Romita Jr. style rival for Bishop, and it works well enough for what it is. But it is pretty effortless to get Bishop's gun in one or both of his hands and get him poised and ready for action. Now, it may just be my figure, but Bishop's right hand is a bit loose. I can pull on this gun while he's holding it, and the hand comes right out. That is not a snug grip at all. It's really only annoying when I'm trying to pose him with the gun. Otherwise, I don't really have an issue with it, but it may be something you guys run into as well and maybe want to be aware of. Also, like Cyclops, he's got some bands on his arms. On my figure, these seem to be holding in place pretty well. Even as I move the figure around and try to pose them, they don't really fall or get in the way or do anything, so I'm not disappointed that Hasbro didn't glue those down this time. Articulation-wise, neither of these figures is bringing much new to the table. Bishop's on the Hyperion body mold we've seen several times, and Laura is on the Teen Girl body mold. Really, the only thing you need to worry about is the head articulation on either one of these figures. Bishop has a softer hair sculpt, so you can get his head up just a little bit, not all the way, but it's decent enough. And X-23 has this nice hair sculpt that's kind of this wind-blown hair. It's really difficult to make her head look up very far, and once I try to get it into place, the head automatically starts setting back down. Normally I might complain about the head not being able to look all the way up, but with that amazing hair sculpt, my happiness and disappointment are kind of balancing each other out right now. And for some quick size comparisons, here we have Bishop compared to some other larger Marvel Legends characters. And here he is compared to some of his fellow classic 90s era X-Men. Here we have Laura compared to some other female Marvel Legends figures. And here she is compared to some other teenaged heroes. And here they are compared to the other two figures from this wave that I currently own. Alright, Toy fans, well that's my review of Bishop and Laura Kinney Wolverine, part of the Sauron Build-A-Figure wave of Marvel Legends figures released by Hasbro. Overall, I like both of these figures a lot. Bishop is a much-needed update to the original Toy Biz effort, which was good in its day, but has not aged very well. And while I don't know that I ever needed a Laura Kinney Wolverine figure, now that I've got her in hand, I'm pretty pleased by the results. If you guys see these on retail shelves, definitely give them your full support. And Hasbro, now that you've come this far, how about giving us a Trevor Fitzroy or a Shards to go along with that Bishop? Or perhaps even a Young Angel or Honey Badger to go along with Wolverine? What characters would you guys like to see? You can always keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at D21Beast, and I'll see you guys next time.